Hello, everybody. I'm sick. I just got back from a vacation too, so um, it was a fun vacation, but I got back sick. I think I have the flu. So if you can't hear me very well, it's because my voice is not that great right now. Um, but yeah, I wanted to share um, a little bit about like the things that keep popping up for me to like talk about. One of them being um, how our own fears and our own traumas um, affect the way that we see other people, how we perceive the world, and how we see relationships, and how our past traumas tend to affect the way that we see people, like in general, not just in relationships, but just in generally, how we tend to just not trust people very much due to our own fears, right? Um, and then the other thing that I wanted to talk about is that I keep getting a lot of like confirmation that I need to make more content and post it on YouTube. My new friend here on YouTube, a Muslim who tries to love, he was like, I like your content. Like, and I really enjoyed that he told me that because I haven't, had somebody tell me that. So I appreciate you. Thank you. And then I just saw a video right now too, like like a few minutes ago, like 3 minutes ago, like confirming that I need to be more disciplined with my content and continue um, putting up videos. So I made a plan of like at least trying to put something up every day. One thing. It doesn't matter what, at least be present once a day. So hopefully you'll be seeing me pop up a little bit more. And I appreciate everybody that watches my content. I barely just started doing this. This is new to me. So I do appreciate any feedback you guys have for me too. Um, but yeah, getting back to the regular topic that I wanted to talk about. I have personally noticed, and this is based off on my experience, right? Everybody will have a different experience. You guys can go ahead and share, like in the comments, what your experience is like with this. But in my experience, I've experienced a lot of fear around um, rejection. A lot of fear around rejection. A lot of fear of not being chosen. A lot of fear of like not being able to trust people. Um, and that goes back to like how maybe in my childhood, I was like kind of, how can I explain it? I wasn't included, or I felt excluded because, and I don't know if I've shared this before with you guys, but I have like a delay in like processing information. So when people would come up to me and ask me things, or when people would come up to me and ask me to play with them, for example, I would just like stare at them because I didn't, the information wasn't processing at that moment until like a few minutes later. I'd be like, okay, but they'd be like weirded out by that time, by that moment, because I was just staring at them, right? That was when I was younger. And I don't remember very much about this. Sorry about the coughing. And I don't remember very much about this in my childhood, but I have like, for example, a cousin that told me about this. My youngest sister also like tells me about different times in my childhood where like I would do weird things, like to them, like it was weird or it was like not socially right, right? I don't know. to this day, I kind of suspect that maybe I have, like, or maybe I'm in the autism spectrum. I don't know. I might be. I don't know. But it could also, like, this kind of stuff also kind of um, go hand in hand with trauma, you know? So it could be that I experienced all this trauma due to the autism spectrum that I'm in, but it could also be like that due to the trauma I have developed like these traits, right? Um, so it's hard to know. And this is like a new journey for me to like understand myself better and understand why I do the things that I did or did when I was younger and now as an adult, right? But from what I'm reading right now, the Healing the Wounded Child, um, I have learned that I think I'm leaning more towards trauma than the autism spectrum. Who knows? I will learn more because I just started working with children that have autism. So I'll see a little bit more of those traits, you know, from my childhood maybe and like recognize them. But yeah, I've noticed that due to my trauma, a lot of my past relationships have not worked out because I'm constantly and consistently waiting for people to betray me or to um, abandon me or reject me. Um, there's been a couple of instances when I thought I was getting rejected, right, by the special person, and so I would just shut down, or I would just kind of like ghost them, to prevent that pain from occurring. So yeah, I was in that part of like the avoidant attachment at some point in my life when I was younger. Right now I am more of in like the anxious, preoccupied attachment style, where it's like I'm always needing like reassurance. I always need reassurance. Like, why do you like me? Why do you feel this way about me? Like, I don't get it. Like, I'm not that great. Like, what do you mean? Or if you're out and about, like, I want you to at least text me and let me know, hey, I'll be back in like a couple minutes, right? Because if you're not doing that, if I'm not getting that reassurance, unfortunately, my trust will start like caving in. And yes, given that I have trust issues, right? And I'm working on them, I have realized that that's like a huge trigger for me, because it's like you're not being transparent with me. You're not like it's like you're hiding something from me when you're not, you know, you're not giving me that little bit of reassurance. You could at least tell me, hey, I'll be there in like 15 minutes. That's all I need. But if I'm constantly like sending texts and I'm not even getting a read, like, that triggers me so bad. And I know that this is not something that's normal, It's something that I'm working on, and I understand that that's like something that, not everybody's gonna like it. And I get that. Sorry. But I'm the type of person who will give you that type of reassurance. I have learned from previous experiences of not wanting to give that reassurance as well. Like, I was there too, I was in that part of my life where I didn't want to give that reassurance to people. Like, I didn't know how to. Like, to me it felt so foreign to be like, oh no, yeah, I'll miss you, or oh no, yeah, I'll be there in like a couple minutes, Like, to me, that felt like I was just like losing myself. Like, I didn't have to be telling people like my business. That's how it felt at that time. But like now I understand. Like, I know how that feels now. Like, I've been through that part of that journey, and I understand how that feels. How, like, there's some people who are gonna need that reassurance and are gonna need for you to be like, no, I love you. I love you and I'll be there. Or, no, you know what? Right now is not a good time to have that conversation, but I want to talk about it a little later, or stuff like that, instead of just ghosting or just leaving me on red, or just, you know, like, just give a little bit of reassurance. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I'm not trying to control you. I'm not trying to like make you change in any way, or make you, that's not what I'm trying to do. Like, now I understand that, right? But I used to be on the other side of the coin, thinking, hey, this person's being controlling. Like, why do they want to know my every step? Like, why do they want to know where I'm at? Why do they want to know this and this about me? Like, chill. And I used to think that that was something more of a secure attachment, but now I understand that it's not. I was very avoidant when I was younger. I was very, very avoidant. And I understand why I was avoidant. And it was all just to prevent pain. It was to protect myself. It was a form of protection and self-preservation. But now I understand. I understand what that looks like. I understand why that's there. I understand that I don't need it. I understand that it no longer works for me. It doesn't. And to all of those of you who are struggling with trauma and have realized, where you're at with your attachment style. And the attachment styles change. They can change. And yes, you can be called a narcissist, and you can be called this and that, because we do tend to have like narcissistic traits. Unfortunately, it does happen. But it's not because you are a narcissist. It's because you're still not aware of like the things that you're experiencing, your feelings. You're not aware of your feelings. You're not aware of like your thought processes. You're not aware of like those programmed ideas that keep you stuck in that mindset. But once you start waking up and you start realizing that these things that you built up as a child no longer serves you, no longer works for you, you start scratching your way out of all of that. Kind of like if you built a stone wall, you start scratching through that stone wall to get to that vulnerable side of yourself. And it's hard for people, especially for those who are still stuck in like the avoidant attachment, right? Thinking that they are secure attachments. If you're still stuck there, it's hard for you to realize what it is that you really need to work on, so that your relationships can start feeling good and can start feeling less daunting and scary. Like, once you're in the anxious, preoccupied attachment style, you start realizing all of your triggers, and you start realizing how to communicate how you feel, and how to communicate your fears, and how to be more vulnerable. But guess what? Being in the anxious, preoccupied attachment style means that you're on your way to getting to a secure attachment style. It just takes a little work. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm focusing on that part of myself because I want to make sure that I have a good relationship with my daughter. I want to make sure I have a good relationship with myself, a good relationship with my friends, and maybe eventually a good relationship with a person, like a romantic relationship, right? I don't want to be hurting people. I'm done with that. Like I don't want to be playing games. I don't want to be um making people think that I'm into them and then not really following through, with commitment and stuff like that. Like I do not want to keep finding myself involved with people who are like that too, you know? I want to start waking up to these um to these feelings and these fears so that these fears don't get in the way of me having something good. And I just hope this reaches somebody that needs to hear it. It's hard. It's hard to go through this and to go through this alone. Figuring all of this out alone with therapy, of course, and books and other spiritual practices that I have found myself in. But it's a lot of soul searching, and to whoever needs to hear it, I hope it finds you